What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Bloss. This is my fourth year teaching at Madon Regional High School, and I regret none of my decisions. However, my first year, I realized a lot about what new, inexperienced teachers aren't aware of before they enter a classroom. There's a lot that you learn in your education in terms of theory, research-based instruction, but there's little things that you are unaware of that can help you in making an effective classroom. A lot of new beginning teachers don't have the confidence they need to present themselves in front of a group of high school seniors, nonetheless. 17, 18-year-olds who are all looking at you, judging you, you lack confidence. So today what we're going to talk about are some of the values and traits you could use in your classroom to help you be more confident and create a better learning environment during your first year teaching.
Before we dive into the basics of starting your classroom, there are some questions and considerations to think about. First, what is your style of teaching? You have to know that when you approach your students in order to be confident in your classroom. 2, you have to know the behaviors of your students. Know what they're all about. Talk to your colleagues and find out more about them. What is the best environment for your students is the last one. You have to know the setup of your classroom and how your students are going to learn in the best situations.
What we're going to talk about today is having the ability to care. Teachers need to care, and I'm not just talking about care in the sense of having deep interest or concern for your students, but you have to understand the values of care. Care in the sense that you need character. You need to be able to adapt. You need to know what a responsive classroom looks like, and you need to have enthusiasm for all periods throughout the day and keep your students engaged in what you're teaching them. The first part of care is character. And character you can take into two different forms. One, character. Yes, showing great character traits, developing great relationships with your students, understanding your students, and developing a great rapport is an essential part to building your confidence as a first year teacher.
Teachers need good character, and I can't stress it enough, because without a decent character, you're not going to have any hope. Because your students need to respect you, and in order to respect you, they'll listen to you. If there's no respect, you're not going to teach them anything.
But you also want to look at character in the sense of being unique. Character in your instructional strategies, character in how you introduce lessons to the students, and even setting up your classroom in a unique fashion that allows the monotony of the school day to be broken up for the students.
This is my classroom right here. As you can see, I chose not to do the traditional rows, but this works for my subject. You have to know what's going to work best for your subject. If you're teaching math, you may want to do the traditional rows and have all your students looking at the board. So it's important to know what environment is best for your students. For me, in the history department, it's a lot easier for this setup because it encourages student collaboration and student discussion. And the kids love it. They love the decorations, they love coming into the room. It's different, it's unique, and it works. The next value in care is adaptability. As a teacher, teaching 5 different classes a day is tough, and you need to adapt to every class in a different way. Students learn differently, and a teacher who can adapt to their class will have a much easier time managing that classroom. It is much easier for a teacher to adapt to a class of 25 than for 25 students to adapt to one teacher.
It's extremely important for teachers to adapt to their classroom and not have students adapt to my techniques. For instance, my class, I have honors levels and I have in-class support. I can't teach and approach each class the same. My honors kids are more chatty, but it's always leading in a good direction. You have to kind of incorporate what your kids are, the makeup of your kids, the interests of their kids, in order to get them excited about what you're teaching.
It's good to have a teacher who's able to adapt to your learning style, because there are different learning styles when it comes to being in school. There's people that are visual learners, people that need you to write it down, people that need you to explain it. So a good teacher has the ability to do multiple things to the different levels that each student has in the classroom, where some, as I said, need to see it. And also kids learn at different paces. So it's good to be able to slow down sometimes, and also for those who want to be more challenged, speed up.
The third value of care is responsive, and responsive meaning a responsive classroom. A responsive classroom is a classroom that doesn't just teach the content, but it also teaches social and emotional values that correspond to the content. And this is an art that a lot of high school teachers tend to lose because the emphasis is so much content based. But in order to create that great classroom and to manage a classroom effectively, you need to be responsive with your teaching strategies.
I would argue as a high school teacher that having a classroom that operates kind of in a way that's responsive to students is the only way to be effective. I started my career in the middle school, and we dealt so much with the student as an individual, and we focused on what they needed, and content was separate. I came up to the high school 6 years into my teaching career, and the emphasis was on content, and I saw so much of the student being left behind.
I think it's important that teachers involve social and emotional values as well as content in the classroom, because in high school kids start to find who they are, and it's really hard to do that when you don't have someone to guide you. And it's especially important in high school because kids want to be adults, they want to be mature and handle it on their own, but we still don't know so much. So if you have a teacher that involves social and emotional things in the classroom, you'll feel much more comfortable to come to them.
The fourth and final value to care is enthusiasm. It's important that you start class with excitement and you show the students that you are ready to get the day started. The students are going to feed off of your energy, so you need to be sure you start with enthusiasm, otherwise you will lose the class right off the bat.
I think that setting a positive tone in the classroom is very important. I've been a teacher here at Madawan for 7 years, and I've always made it a point to greet the students at the door, say, hey, how you doing? Ask how their day is going. And then it's also instrumental that there is a do now on the board, so it sets order for the classroom. And I always start class by saying, good morning, class.
So as teenagers at our age, a lot of us don't like to sit in a classroom and just get bookwork, get handed stuff like that. So having an enthusiastic teacher, we get to get involved, hearing that he's excited to learn or she's excited to learn, we're excited.
Thank you for taking the time to watch, and don't forget, for your first year teaching, always remember the 4 core values of care.